Okay, Mr. Pierce.
Yes, Mr. Chairman, members, thank you for your time today. My name is Bradley Pierce. I speak in favor of House Bill 813, the Abolition of Abortion in Louisiana Act of 2022. In 13 states, legislators have introduced bills like this one to abolish abortion by providing equal protection of the laws to preborn children. As a constitutional attorney and as the president of the Foundation to Abolish Abortion, I've had the privilege of drafting many of these bills. And today there are really two questions for the members of this committee to answer in your own minds. First, is Roe versus Wade the law of the land? We believe the answer is no. And after the leak 2 days ago, it appears that the Supreme Court is ready to agree with that it's not the law of the land. Which brings us to the second question. Is a fetus a person? I'm a Christian by God's grace, and God's word says that civil officials must do justice without partiality for all persons. And our U.S. Constitution prohibits states from denying to any person the equal protection of the laws. We believe that, yes, life begins at conception, and a fetus is a person from the moment of fertilization. This is true logically, scientifically, constitutionally, and biblically. Because of this, the only consistent position is that from the moment of fertilization, we must protect their lives with the same laws that protect our lives. What criminal laws protect your life from homicide? From the moment of fertilization, those same laws should equally protect all persons in this state, born and unborn. That's what it means to do unto others as you would have them do unto you. That's what it means to love your neighbor as yourself. That's what it means to provide equal protection of the laws, and that's what this bill does. So I urge you to provide equal protection for the lives of these precious children by voting to approve this bill for passage.
Well, I have a question from Representative Garofalo.
Yes, sir.
Not a question, Mr. Chairman. Just at the appropriate time, I'd like to move favorably.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. And I was just about to say, if you have any specific questions about the language of the bill, I'd welcome your questions.
I'll have a question. The part of the bill that gives me the most concern is the part that says, without regard to the opinions and judgment of the Supreme Court, and it says it's judicial progeny, past and future. Are we saying that the legislature has the authority to pass a bill and disregard the opinions of the Supreme Court in the past, present, and future?
Specifically what you're talking about is those that deny equal protection of the laws to preborn children. Those opinions like Roe versus Wade, Planned Parenthood versus Casey, that sort of thing.
Right. I'm right. And when I'm looking at this bill and other bills, what I first try to do is I separate the subject matter from what the words are saying to see what are we doing and I understand how passionate everyone is about the subject matter. But what I'm looking at is, does this bill say we will, by this bill, disregard the opinion of the Supreme Court in the past, present, and future?
What it's referring to is ultimately the members of this committee, the members of this body, swear an oath not to the court, but to the Constitution. And so, if the court violates that Constitution and requires you to violate that Constitution, if they ignore the Constitution, then you must ignore the court. And that's what this bill does. Roe versus Wade is unconstitutional. You've sworn an oath to uphold the Constitution, and so we believe that you must ignore Roe versus Wade, just like the Supreme Court is poised to ignore Roe versus Wade themselves.
Okay.
Could I speak to that?
Yes, sir.
Just briefly, when the Dred Scott versus Sanford ruling was delivered by the U.S. Supreme Court, they ordered states in the North to return escaped slaves to their slave owners in the South, and the northern states, namely New York and Massachusetts, refused. William Seward was governor of New York at the time, and he said that the U.S. Supreme Court is not the supreme law of the land. There is a higher law in heaven, and we have to be obedient to God.
Okay.
And may I add one more thing, Representative Chairman?
Yes, sir.
And that is that the Supremacy Clause of the U.S. Constitution says this Constitution and the laws which shall be made in pursuance thereof shall be the supreme law of the land. And so, as long as the Supreme Court said what they say is in accord with the Constitution, then absolutely Louisiana needs to follow it. But when it violates the Constitution, then Louisiana needs to follow the Constitution.
Okay, thank you.